अस्सलाम वालेकुम। In last act of this play, as we mostly see in Shakespearean plays, first acts are very stronger and longer, but last act is mostly brief and rapid uh, in, you can say, conclusion. Ariel tells Prospero that the day has reached its sixth hour when Ariel is allowed to stop working. Prospero acknowledges his services and asks how the king and his followers are uh, taking. Ariel replies that they are imprisoned in the grove as Prospero ordered. तो यहाँ एरियल जो है इस वाक्य को रिपोर्ट करता है कि किंग एंड हिज मैन they have been imprisoned in the grove. He tells that Antonio and Sebastian are mad for fear and Gonzalo cries constantly. You can say that cries of Gonzalo shows regrets and you can say the loss which his country, which his people have seen, and also you can say infliction of injustice upon Prospero. On the other side, Antonio and Sebastian, they are presented as, you can say, coward, timid, fearful creatures. Gonzalo is brave, but Gonzalo uh, cries for the loss. Prospero asks, that is not his personal loss, that's a national loss. Prospero asks Ariel to release them all. Then, in his famous soliloquy, he gives up his magic. पहले तो उनको आजाद करने की का हुक्म देता है और फिर जो है मैजिक छोड़ने का ऐलान करता है. That's strange, but we can say two things cannot go side by side. Role as a popular, people-friendly, social dude, and you can say reading of magical books and playing of magical cards in solitary. He pledges to perform his last task and then he will break his staff, magical staff, and drown his magic books. That's his, you can say, resolution कि बस आखिरी काम अभी निपटाना है और उसके बाद जो है मैजिकल बुक्स को जो है वो दरियाबुर्द कर देना है, इनको जो है वो पानी में बहा देना और जो स्टिक है उसे तोड़ देना। एरियल री एंटर्स विद अलोंसो एंड हिज कंपेनियन इन अ चार्म्ड स्टेट। अभी तक उनके ऊपर जादू किया हुआ है। प्रॉस्पेरो एड्रेसेस किंग अलोंसो एंड अदर्स। ही admires Gonzalo's loyalty and chides the treachery of others. He asks Ariel to fetch his clothes that he used to wear as Duke. ये शायद लास्ट काम था जिसके लिए उसने एरियल को भेजना था कि जाए और जो ड्यूक के वो कपड़े लेके आए जो उसने उतार के रखे हुए हैं। He asked Ariel to fetch his clothes. Ariel returns with clothes and helps Prospero putting them on. Prospero promises to grant freedom to his loyal spirit and asks Ariel to fetch boatswain and other mariners. Prospero promises to grant freedom to his loyal spirit Ariel and asks Ariel to fetch boatswain and other mariners asks to and he releases Antonio and others from the spell. No, they can see Prospero. No, they can act normally. Uh, in the past, they were denied, you can say, their free mobility. No, he forgives his brother Antonio and demands that Antonio should return his dukedom. Alonso is in grief of his son, and Prospero consoles him that he has also lost his daughter in this tempest and draws a curtain and shows Miranda and Ferdinand playing cards. Actually, here losing the daughter means that she will be married to that uh, Prince Ferdinand. Alonso is ecstatic on this discovery. Alonso embraces Ferdinand and Miranda and begs for pardon, especially from Miranda. Prospero hints that reconciliation is complete. I mean, you can say Alonso and Prospero both acknowledge the marriage of Ferdinand and Miranda, and Ariel brings Caliban, Trinculo, and Stefano at that moment, who are asked to clean Prospero's cell for the feast, and Prospero delivers an epilogue. Uh, you can say they were the first, they try to steal the books, they fail, and no, they were waiting for punishment. And last punishment is, you can say, they are asked to clean Prospero's cell, and at that night they want to have a feast, and after that they will return to Milan, where Prospero will act as a duke, and you can say that island, which have its own, you can say, charms and spells, that will be left. So that's the plot of this play, The Tempest. Uh, as I mentioned some points in the beginning, I again, you can say, mention its theme. One idea is justice or the illusion of justice. The, you can say, notable theme of this play. Uh, Justice, or you can say quest for justice, especially for the kings and dukes, that is seen in Shakespearean work, where you can say one duke or two king is deprived of his legitimate dukeship or kingship by his brother. In many of the plays we have seen, and justice demands that it should be restored. Same happens to Prospero, an intelligent, you can say popular, good-natured, virtuous, noble king, duke, and his brother, you can say, plays a treachery, and he is deprived of his dukeship. He restored his dukedom, but not, you can say, uh, through ordinary ways, or you can say through the modes of realistic world. Rather, he uses magical books, or you can say magical tempers, and uh, then he succeeds to come to his former position. So that thing has created a debate uh, among the readers, that is if justice is possible or not. If justice is not possible, so illusion of justice has been created in this thing. So justice as a virtue is recognized, but its attainment is, you can say, a difficult job, an uphill task, and for that purpose, you can say uh, the world of supernatural is included as, you can say, an aid. It means like supernatural, you can say, forces are creature and unusual, extraordinary uh, measures are required to ensure justice in the world. Second, that is, as I mentioned, that's a story of creator and creation, author and story. There is a story that Prospero shares with his daughter, and it acts like, you can say, the stories which have a profound effect on the readers, like, you can say, Esmeralda is there, and they fall asleep. Then there are, you can say, stories of finding and losing and finding, or lost and found. There is, you can say, banquet scene, and a dramatic episode of what we say uh, entrance of fairies and their, you can say, speeches, or rhetorical speeches about chastity. The as displays about the new world, and you can say the old world. One, if we take, you can say, fiction versus reality, it can be taken as the world of imagination, the world of fantasy, the world of poetic imagination. That's also like the new world, where you can say the inhabitants of the old world have not struggled. They are uh, they are, you can say, stranger to this world. So even the very story of the new world, that stand for, you can say, fiction and fictional accounts. There are, you can see, many references to imagination and power of imagination, and how, you can say, imagination can create something new. Imagination does not create only the stories and dramas, but it also creates the world that was beyond the reach of human beings once. Renaissance humanist ideals of, you can say, first focus on human beings and his limitless energy, and his, you can say, uh, high ambitions to, you can say, expand himself as well as his national boundaries. That type of ideas are shown through Prospero, even in hostile situation that he faces in Milan. He leaves to another island, and he is not, you can say, there a slave, or you can say dependent being. Rather, he becomes master of that island, and he becomes the master of that island because of the power of his medical books. So it means unusual practices, extraordinary knowledge, or you can say wonderful hobbies like Prospero's hobby of reading magical books. They they empower the colonizers to expand and you can say reach the new world. Expansion, nationalist expansion was seen through you can say colonialism. Uh, there are, you can say, two virtues. One is the virtue of justice, which was more emphasized in Old Testament of Bible, and other is mercy and forgiveness that was more seen in New Testament. And these Christian virtues of grace, forgiveness, and generosity are seen in the character of uh, Prospero, who actually pardons his enemy, or you can say are the conspirators like his own brother Antonio. Even Antonio towards the end is not a changed human being. He least shows, you can say, repentance and resolution to change himself. Sebastian is ashamed and he makes a strong resolution to change himself. Uh, and practically, Sebastian has committed no sin at all. He was just intended to do, mean, take the life of his brother Alonso and be a king. Alonso also forgives his brother Sebastian on the advice of Prospero. So these virtues are expressed by these two, you can say, noblemen. One is king of Naples and other is Duke of Milan. You can say Caliban and his companions, they are also forgiven, but that is much controversial by post-colonial readership of this play. The virgin knot that should not be broken unless marriage is declared formally, publicly. That's the ideal that was emphasized through, you can say, speeches and command of Prospero and rhetorical speeches of fairies and spirits who appear in disguise of mythical figures like Juno and Ceres and Iris. But it raises a question whether the woman will should be, you can say, should yield to her father's will, or she should decide the things independently. Virginity of woman and you can say chastity of women, they are very debatable issues. In modern world, you can say uh, mostly they are concluded in this way that it's the right of the woman whether to retain her chastity or lose that, and it should not be attached to her character at all. Colonial aspects and post-colonial responses. Uh, uh, on one side, you can say there is colonial allegory, and colonial allegory is through the character of Prospero, who acts as a colonial master, colonizes an island of Sycorax, and enslaves her and later on her son, Caliban. And there is the character of Ferdinando, who appears as charisma of colonialism. As you can say, uh, Kurds in Heart of Darkness stand for charisma of European colonizer. That thing is shown through the character of Ferdinand. And Ferdinand have also the desires to colonize that island, remain there, and he is much offensive by the power of this or spell of that island. Post-colonial responses, there are many, by the way, post-colonial responses, but Caribbean responses are often given primacy. because this island was thought uninhabited, unpopulated, historyless. Even two figures which are seen there, they are not actually of that island. They have come, you can say one has come from Algiers and other has born over there, Caliban. Caribbean was also declared by colonial masters as historyless, pastless, and it was much debated by, you can say, the people of that region that they had the past, but masters couldn't understand their past. They had the history, but they didn't like this history because it was different from the history of colonial masters. Aimé Césaire, one of the great, you can say, uh, activists of a movement. That movement is called Pan African. Pan Africa movement. He was a leading leader of that movement. He was a great philosopher and poet, dramatist, master of, you can say, French language, but always loves to speak in indigenous languages of Africa. And he wrote a play, which is wrote actually in French language, but translated in English as Our Tempest. The Tempest was written by Shakespeare, and Our Tempest was written by Aimé Césaire. And he, you can say, challenged the notion that Prospero is the hero. According to him, Caliban is the hero, and you can say real sense of justice remains incomplete unless Caliban is declared, you can say, the rightful owner of that island. There is also a Nobel Prize winner, uh, Caribbean uh, poet and novelist Derek Walcott. Derek Walcott made, you can say, performances of Shakespearean play, and he also made certain, you can say, modifications for the, uh, you can say, post-colonial perspective or Caribbean region perspective. So when it is discussed with that perspective, you can say Caliban, uh, prejudice of the writer against Caliban and natives is pointed out, and distinction of nature and nurture, that is the theme of which is emphasized, and it is thought that on nature level, both, you can say, colonial master and savage, they were the same. Later on, you can say they developed a civilization by their own standard, and they declared others uncivilized because they were not uh, coming up to their own canon or standards. Uh, Caliban, that seems, you can see, more crude and savage in the classical reading of this play, seems more human, and you can say victim, in fact, in these post-colonial interpretation of the play. Just last aspect, you can say there are many parallels to post-colonial history, and you can say the failed attempts of Caliban and his fellows. There is a use of language. So in colonized nation, there was, you can say, an urge to learn the language of the master and fight back the master with the same language. हमारे भी पाकिस्तान में ये आपको मालूम है कि ये हमें तसव्वुर बताया गया है, इसके ऊपर वैसे काफी डिबेट होती है। तो कहते हैं जी लीडर हमें वही चाहिए था जो अंग्रेजी बोल सके। तो कायदे आजम को चूंकि अंग्रेजी आती थी, तो इसके अलावा और कोई लीडर हमें जचता नहीं था। तो एक ऐसा लीडर कि जो कि अवाम में से नहीं था, अवाम के साथ खड़ा नहीं होता था, लोगों की जबान यानी कि उर्दू में या बाकी जबानों में, कायदे आजम की अपनी जबान जो है वो सिंधी गुजराती थी, तो उसमें भी बिल्कुल ना तो अपने लोगों से बात करता था, ना उर्दू में बात की, ना बंगाली में, ना पंजाबी में। हिंदुस्तान की किसी भी ज़बान को पसंद नहीं किया और सिर्फ़ अपने जो मास्टर्स थे, उनकी लैंग्वेज सीख के तो अपना राइट ऑफ लीडरशिप जो है वो असर रख दिया। तो कैलिवन सेज दैट ही हैज़ लर्न्ड द लैंग्वेज एंड नाउ ही कर्सेस द मास्टर इन द सेम लैंग्वेज। तो ये भी एक पोस्ट कॉलोनियल टेंडेंसी समझी जाती है कि जो फॉर्मरली colonized nations या thinkers हैं, they actually base their arguments on the data provided by the colonizer themselves. लैंग्वेज भी उन्हीं की है, उसी से रिस्पॉन्ड करना चाहते हैं, आर्गुमेंट्स भी उन्हीं के हैं और उन्हीं से प्ले बैक करना चाहते हैं। तो ये कुछ बातें इस प्ले की आपसे मैंने शेयर की हैं। पोस्ट colonial reading of this play is very very important, uh, you can say, part of this play. You should prepare it now. You can ask question about this play, rather your whole anthem course. Yes, please raise your hand for questions. uh, yes, Mujahid, please.
Ji sir, thank you sir. Sir, I want to clarify that as you talked about the colonialism and post-colonialism, and you made an analogy about the character of this play, Tempest, the Sebastian, Antonio, and Caliban, an analogy with the as a political leader of our subcontinent, as Qaid Muhammad Ali Jinnah, Rahmatullah, and Iqbal, and like other Joe Bradhan and Gandhi and Nehru that you talked about. They went to abroad to get the Western knowledge, Western degrees, just and to speak their master language. To steal, like here you made analogy that Caliban, Antonio, and Sebastian want to steal the books of magic books, and they want to kill their master Prospero. So I want to ask, sir, what is the analogy between this? There is a confusion between the intention of the character of this play. That there is what is their will, there is intention, their bad intention, their bad will. And if we talk about the see the subcontinent leaders, we can see we talk about our political leaders, Iqbal and Jinnah, that they are right to get knowledge and to fight for the political movement. But if we see to Gandhi and Nehru, they were trying to kill a bird with a stone. So, sir, just to make clarify that how to make a
स्टाइलिस्टिक फीचर देखते हैं और एक दूसरा आइडियोलॉजिकली उनको देखते हैं। तो सर हेमलेट में हमारे पास थोड़ा सा आप प्लीज़ गाइड कर दें कि कौन कौन से फीचर्स जो हैं वो पाए जाते हैं पोस्ट मॉडर्निज्म के। क्या हमने इनको दोनों को देखना है उसमें हेमलेट में?
अच्छा, ऐसा है कि पोस्ट मॉडर्निज्म एक थ्योरी नहीं है, दैट्स अ सेट ऑफ थ्योरीज। जैसे
जी
मॉडर्निज्म भी एक थ्योरी नहीं है, दैट्स आल्सो अ सेट ऑफ थ्योरीज।
जी
उसमें अगर हम पोस्ट मॉडर्निज्म को थोड़ा सा ओवर सिंप्लीफाई करें या जनरलाइज करें तो
जी
हमारे सामने क्या चीजें आती हैं कि स्केप्टिसिज्म टू एग्जिस्टिंग नॉलेज।
जी
तो इसी तरह दूसरा जो उसका फीचर हमें नजर आता है कि सरफेस इज एज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट एज डेप्थ। जैसे डीप आइडिया या प्रोफाउंड आइडियाज इंपॉर्टेंट है, उसी तरह सुपरफिशियल और सरफेस आइडियाज दे हैव सिग्निफिकेंस। इसी तरह इसमें एक जो पोस्ट मॉडर्निज्म में कॉन्सेप्ट है तो वो चीजें जिन्हें पास्ट में इग्नोर किया गया और इग्नोर किस वजह से करते थे, ड्यूरिंग द प्रोसेस ऑफ स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन एंड ऑथेंटिकेशन। ऑथेंटिकेशन के प्रोसेस में और स्टैंडर्डाइजेशन के प्रोसेस में कहा जाता था कि ये नॉन ऑथेंटिक है, इसको रिजेक्ट कर दो, ये डिस अप्रूव्ड है इसको, और इसके लिए कोई ना कोई इंस्टीट्यूशन जो वो काम करता है। जैसे कि मिचेल फूको जो कि पोस्ट मॉडर्न में भी फॉल कर सकता है, ही इज अ ग्रेट पोस्ट स्ट्रक्चरलिस्ट थ्योरिस्ट और न्यू हिस्टोरिसिस्ट भी है। वो हमें हिस्ट्री ऑफ प्रिजन और हिस्ट्री ऑफ जो है वो सेक्सुअलिटी के हवाले से बताता है कि किस तरह से जो साइकोलॉजी का इंस्टीट्यूशन था या प्रिजन का इंस्टीट्यूशन था या लॉ के इंस्टीट्यूशन थे, इन्होंने किस तरह से कुछ चीजों को जायज करार दिया और कुछ चीजों को जो है उससे एक्सक्लूड कर दिया। तो कह सकते हैं कि हम जब पोस्ट मॉडर्निस्ट रीडिंग कर रहे हैं तो हम इस एक साइड को भी लेके हम कर सकते हैं, एक हम सब टॉपिक बना लें और एक मेन टॉपिक। फॉर एग्जांपल जो है कि रिविजिटिंग द एक्सक्लूडेड एलिमेंट्स या एक्सक्लूडेड एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ हैमलेट, और कोलन डाल के आप लिख रहे हैं कि पोस्ट मॉडर्निस्ट रीडिंग ऑफ हैमलेट, तो उसमें जो उसको कर सकते हैं। इसी तरह स्केप्टिसिज्म है, स्केप्टिसिज्म जो है हैमलेट में जब आप अप्लाई करते हैं तो वो डिफरेंट कैरेक्टर्स के म्यूचुअल रिलेशंस के बारे में, होरेशो की आइडेंटिटी के बारे में है, होरेशो हैमलेट रिलेशनशिप के बारे में है। इसी तरह क्लॉडियस और जो गर्टरूड है उसके रिलेशनशिप के बारे में है, क्लॉडियस और ओल्ड हैमलेट के रिलेशनशिप के बारे में, डिफरेंट किस्म के जो है स्केप्टिसिज्म। फिर टेक्स्ट से भी हमें जहाँ कुछ